time we're working together?
Yeah. That is, I think, as far back as 2016.
16?
Yes.
Then what were you doing? You were from
Hello Food. We were transitioning from Hello Food to
UCC,
Jumia. Bureau of Statistics. But that was 2 years before, because remember I joined about 2 years before that.
Yeah?
Yes. So we worked together like for 2 years.
So how does a statistician now get into food e-commerce business?
Let's start there. So funny thing is, interesting enough, STEM, what people call science, tech, maths, and it's a core thing to be a base for education, and then you can build onto that to actually do a couple of other careers. Now, for me, statistics, I was good at numbers, good at math, so that's where I went on, and I just found that the marketing comes a bit more natural. And since it's backed by data, it's very easy. Somehow, I was able to combine the two.
Yeah?
Yes.
Oh.
But that doesn't mean I didn't go back and study for marketing. Eventually, I did.
Yeah, you got dissolved into the whole passion of marketing. Yes. And once that, I saw you were doing performance marketing. So I want to understand performance marketing. Because then as Googling, and it's marketing where you only pay by results, and that challenges all this other effort. Let's say you're going to take me through the whole structure.
Okay.
Let's say I'm working to only be paid for results. It makes me a salesman. It's only salesmen that are paid when they bring in results, because they get a commission of every sale they make. But then with marketing, there's so much effort. I'm already putting your brand probably out there, whether to weigh into return of investment is still a challenge for me, and I'm still going to bring you to the conversation of how to market now, like this business, the challenges I've been having. But take me through the whole performance marketing. And
so you see,
why you only get paid.
So you see, marketing is it's very wide. Yes. So you literally have to end up specializing. Now, there is performance marketing. Some of the places I learned from and some of the places I've been working, most of them, many people like to group it under digital marketing, but it's a bit more core than that. You could say, yes, it is result-oriented more than you could say the end sale, it depends on the objective. Right? And you can still use it for the likes of awareness. You can still use it for engagement. But the thing is, it is data-driven.
Yeah.
That's what makes it different. I mean, let's take an example. You put a billboard up, unless the company tells you, this is how many cars drive by here. Even then, you don't know how many people are in the car.
True,
right?
True.
Or you put an advert on TV. Oh, we played it at 9 p.m. just before the news. Approximately the number of people who watch the news is about 2 million on our station, right? You can never really confirm. It's always an approximation. And you can never really measure. So I watched it and did what? Right?
Yeah.
What was the next thing? Now, the reason I specialized in performance marketing, one, it's action-oriented. And it is also the result that is backed by data. Yes.
What do you mean the result is backed by data? Like, I know how many people accessed.
Yes. So I'm 100% able to know that this is how many people. For example, let's take a quick example. YouTube. Everybody knows that. You all see those bumper ads.
But again, now, yes, you cannot know how many people have watched YouTube.
You can, and you can know
when you see the views. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
If I'm watching my phone. And I'm watching a video, right?
Yes.
I'm watching it with that guy.
Yes.
We are two people viewing.
Exactly. But you're viewed by. Yes. So that is what you could say the small window, because it will count per device.
Yeah.
Yes. So per device, per access. Right? So yes, that is subject to mass audience, but then also YouTube isn't made for mass audience. As a product, it is made for individual consumption. True. Right? So, yes, that is a gap, but also what you can do, the best thing about it is you can see who skipped at 1 second, who skipped at 3 seconds, That's how people generated that type of content. When people said, attention span, people's content, all that is actually based in performance marketing, Somebody collected data and says, you need to be interesting in the first 3 seconds, then deliver your message in the next 3 seconds. That means a bumper ad is 6 seconds.
Because people's attention spans are very low, they don't give things. Don't you think it's a culture we actually need to wash away? Now, see, for this podcast, we might speak for at least 1 hour.
Yes.
and we'll put it out there. It's going to be very broad. We'll talk about stuff. We'll go out from this conversation. There will be so much.
Yes.
But then people are so used to just watching things that are 30 seconds, 30 minutes, and maybe they're catchy. When you see the most popular stuff, it's only that stuff that's linked.
That is short.
Yeah. But I don't believe we are supposed to consume information like that.
No.
Yeah, we're supposed to understand the information.
Exactly.
Consuming and giving it time.
Yes.
So why don't you people in the marketing field change how you want to do it?
So I think it's a marry between two things here. Yes. Somebody wants to get your attention as quickly as possible and sell to you as quickly as possible. So it's a marry between moving you from just staying in what people would say awareness, right? Now you know. And then how do we move you to consideration very quickly and then move you to spending your money, right? All this before someone comes and taps your shoulder and takes your attention away. So, and you're spending bucks to be able to fit all this within that. So for marketing, the longer you have someone's attention, I mean, let's take an example of the Super Bowl. Still, the adverts there, not more than 30 seconds.
True.
Right? And that's the longest one. So I feel when it is sales and informativeness, information ads tend to be a lot longer.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So you remember that ad they used to play of with a song of it's a beautiful world, and this man is walking in the street somewhere in in a tropical country, but then there's like a girl being trafficked in the door, then another boy being pulled and shoved into a car, right? And it was about human trafficking. Do you know that ad was always watched to the end? Because it seemed like it was almost up to now, right? You always watch it up to the end because it was a story and it appealed to your, what can I say, to your humanity, to your natural senses. Like, first you ask, what is this about? Yes. Then all this amazing stuff. Then by the time the message clicks, you're at the end, right? So they held you long enough to keep you engaged and deliver the message. So the informative ads, yes, but everybody who's in sales. Now, let me give you another example. Imagine you are going to have a concert, right? Remember when Ruga was here?
Yeah.
And nobody played the whole song. Everybody said, "Bad man, looking good in Dior. Ruga,
Yeah.
So they want to sample you, yes, and then you go and attend and get the whole thing. So I think it all depends on what your core message is. Yes, not I think, I know. Yeah. It all depends on what the core message is, what you're trying to sell, what you're trying to communicate, and who's the audience.
So how do I come up with a very good marketing plan in general? That is something I've struggled with.
Mark,
very experimental.
You're very good.
I'm telling you, it's like a real solid plan that I have to follow through things. Everything I've been doing is really experimental. A lot of it has maybe caught up. The influence, what. But like to have a solid plan now, like this business of creating film and podcasting and visuals for people, you cannot know how best to come up with a plan besides just for content management. How to distribute the content. Of course,
First, identify what is your unique selling point, right? Okay. And a unique selling point is what makes you different, right? What makes you stand out. And when you get to that, then what do you want to achieve with what you're doing? So eventually, if this is going to be streamed and you want to monetize your channel, or for example, eventually you want to have a stable thing on Spotify or go to things like Audible, right? Which means you have to be able to talk about specific, not just a broadness, but more like a specificity that drives interest, right? So you can just say, what do ordinary people, like this is big conversation by ordinary people, right? What does an ordinary person understand about the death of the speaker? Most people, I mean, an ordinary person, some people will be like, they are just spending 2.2 billion. And that's what they know. And you're like, okay, how long was he in power? They are spending 2.2 billion while people are there in Mulago. And, so that is,
what's your take on the whole speaker thing?
Now that I bring it up as an example.
2.5 billion doesn't bother you?
It's annoying. And I'm sure you've seen... just the way getting here, the roads, the hospitals. I mean, there's a lot that this could do. And the fact that the government can find that money upon someone's sudden death, but they cannot find it to actually implement things that have been in their plans for a long time is very disturbing. Yes. And what is most scary for me is are the people making these decisions so out of tune because they are older and they do not
we have a problem with the age gap of people are very far from the current reality of things that are happening.
Yes, because the problems you have when you're 60 are not the problems you have when you're 30.
And we have very few people our age.
Exactly.
For us.
Very, very few.
Anyway, away from
politics. We shall stay here forever.
Still in marketing, how do you now as a woman raise up to head a whole department? How do you define yourself? Like, you know what? Ideally, I also love the fact that, I don't know, it's a stereotype that women should actually do more marketing. Usually, people want to send women. To make sales because, of course, they're more appealing and all that. But how do you, in a company, in an e-commerce company that's the biggest, how can I put it? How do you structuralize? How do you really get on your A game to command a department for a business that's so new into our country?
New in the country, yes. I know, but I think by the time I took over the department, we were still very new. For me, it was curiosity, right? But also it is curiosity and experimentation. For me, that is what drives me. It's like, okay, what is this? What can I do? But I also had people who actually took a chance. Yes. I like to think I have a pretty good personality. Yes. And I'm pleasant.
Yeah.
So I did have people who took a chance. People expressed as like, okay, why I'm curious about this. What if we did this? And then somebody said, wait, why don't you test out in this part of the department? Then in the end, why don't you just take over? Let's see how this goes. And from how this goes, I also ended up with a really good mentor, a lady called Iliana, and she really taught me quite a bit. Yes, I have worked with almost 6 African countries where Jumia is located, and I have taken projects to that point. But a lot for me has been intuition.
Working with different markets, really?
You have to change your mind. You change your perception every single time. So, for example,
how do you know what really works?
1, research. 2, also you have to be involved in those people's. So, for example, if we were to start this conversation and I come and I don't even know your second name, right? Or I do not know what kind of tribe you're from, right? Or the people that are encompassed around you. So a lot of it is just understanding culture, understanding what the people are about, but also some of it is intuition. Yes, like I was very surprised. West Africa, the louder, the more flamboyant you are, the more likely you will stand out, because every single brand, every single message that side is really flamboyant. While in East Africa, people tend to be a bit more conservative, muted.
Does this explain why their music is taking over? Their music and, of course, their film. They started with their film.
Yes, they started with the film. Yes, I think it's because they started with the film that the music was so easy to be absorbed in East Africa. But and then you find North Africa TV really works. Like they'll have game shows, so it's different, right? Here, if you try a game show, unless it's a lottery, who's gonna tune in?
Exactly. That brings me to that whole question now. How do you, again, with data, right now, I don't have a TV. I've not had a TV. I actually have a TV, but I use it to just still watch these podcasts because it's connected to a PC. It's not really TV like television. How do you know now that I can't use this platform? This is relevant or not relevant, radio, TV, then to social media, which is a blow up. Probably people say they get a lot of results there instantly. But then, because since I don't watch TV, I feel like there's so many people my age that are
like
broken off TV, besides the people that just can't afford to watch TV.
They are there.
So now, how is it relevant in marketing?
So how it's relevant in marketing and also just in choosing how people are going to consume your information is find them where they consume the information. Right? Let's take an example of you don't watch TV. I personally, I read more news online than I will ever touch a newspaper or watch news. So how do you talk to me at the same time talk to somebody else who watches TV, talk to another section? So you need to say, who is my relevant audience? right? The kind of person I'm looking for, for example, if I have a product and I approximately want people to be spending, to buy a specific number of iPhones, right? Do I go to a Chidandali in the neighborhood and, where they watch football in a collective set and put an ad there? No, right? But I can effectively put a billboard somewhere and it may work.
In
Chidanda.
Yes, and it's a very well explained ad, because one, we cannot cut out the fact that people.
But is it your relevant audience? Is it, so if the iPhone is to be paid for, 2 million cash down, right?
How do you know who has 2 million and who does?
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
It's spend data, which is data that is there in Uganda. Spend data, categorizations, every area. I am going to a class, and this is why we're having this very discussion. It is the balance of needs and wants, right? Everybody wants that iPhone.
Wait, where do you get this data on us to inform your job and you make money off our information?
You remember?
How is this available?
Where is this available? Uganda Bureau of Statistics.
Wow, you're a statistician, so this comes very easy for you.
No, but a lot of this data is available.
Free open source, like
some of it is free open source, some of it is market research, right? Yeah. And with all the graduates or every person every single person is required to do some research. You just need to know where to look. Right. Yes. So we were having this conversation yesterday about wants, needs, and willingness to pay. And everybody needs air. Right? Will you bottle air? No.
Oh, but they did bottle air at that time in COVID in China.
How many bought it?
But
also China is one of the countries with the highest pollution in the world.
Yeah.
Right?
But they were selling
bottled air. But it was oxygen. If we were to drill down, it was oxygen. So everybody needs air. Yeah. But are you going to bottle air? No, because it is 100% very available to everyone. Yeah. Yes? Yeah. Then everybody wants... what example? Everybody wants, let's take to Dior. Everybody may want a Dior purse, right? Yeah. To carry their belongings, have that logo, right?
That Birkin bag that is about how much?
That is about, is it $55,000?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes, it's crazy. It's like we all want it. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. So everybody wants something like that, right? But who is willing to pay? Right? Then there are needs people are willing to pay for. Yes? You're willing to pay national water to get good water. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But what margin are you willing to pay for it? Can you start saying, can I sink my own borehole versus paying national water?
And a lot of people right now actually do generate their water.
Exactly. Right? Something that can go down. It's a necessity. You need it. It's part of your survival. But how much more willing are you willing to pay for it when it's everywhere? So... that becomes a business that the government can enter, but you as Mark, you're not going to go drill a borehole for every home as a business, right? Yeah. So which means it goes back to what are the needs and wants of your audience? What are they willing to pay for, right? So let's take another example of a coffee shop. This is also something, again, we were discussing in class. I do attend a certain class around marketing. So... it's something, again, we're attending. So one of the core things is, imagine if you didn't have the best coffee in your coffee shop, right? But we write on your name, on your coffee cup, and a personal message for you every day. Yes? Would you come back?
Yeah.
You would?
If you write
if my name on the coffee is not the best, it's average coffee, right? But when we package it, we write your name. Oh, for Mark, hope you have a sunny day, right? Or may your day be as sweet as this milkshake. Would you come back to the coffee shop?
Probably yes. You know, feel good moments where, okay, well, the coffee is bad, I wouldn't come back, I'll look for good coffee. That's automatic. But yes, I'll give them my consideration. Maybe I'll just keep trying. Maybe they'll improve.
All right. Now, if it takes about 2 minutes for somebody to pen that message, right? This is on top of your waiting time of preparing. They're kind of pushing your patience there, and then the coffee is not so good.
Yes,
right?
I know. If the coffee is not so good, I wouldn't.
Right.
Really.
So exactly.
Yes.
So there is what you can say you're adding effort that results into pushing faster into willingness to pay, and effort that does not. Right. And the selling and marketing is how do you tap into making someone believe that what they want, right, is straight into what they are willing to pay for.
I've seen a big chunk of my friends, including myself, were frustrated by all e-commerce ads. It doesn't care if it's Jumia, Glovo, or whatnot. Don't you think you people bag us with so much of this and you make us very uncomfortable that we are left with no option but to detest the whole product? Like, you know what? No, it's a Jumia ad. I do.
Yeah, just skip. I don't think so. It's just because Kampala. The data is not misleading.
It's crazy.
The data is not misleading, but if Kampala and Uganda itself had over 50 of those companies, you'd be seeing 50 different ads if all of them had the budget, right? But these are the companies that have the budget to pull this off, right? And that means the reason you're targeted, but also the other amazing thing about all this targeting is you can set a maximum of how frequently someone can see the ad, right? And once that maximum is reached, the ad pulls back, right? So as much as it looks like it's a lot for you, but if you notice, at some point, it will cease, right?
What's the value of all these ads, though?
Of all the ads?
Extreme value? No, for you.
For me, so one of the things is I've worked with quite a few companies. It's not just Jumia. I've worked with quite a few e-commerce, fintech.
You're dealing with customer experiences, right?
Yes, I'm just again moving into another role, but even just as my own personal business, I have worked with quite a few. And the thing about these ads is what you don't see is some of it is information. So one may be sticking to an example of. Ruga and Dior, right? One of it is informing you. No, the pink hair does nothing for me. So
it looks like this guy, grenade.
It reminds me of bubblegum. Just
when I see it, I just see grenade official and
actually, that's true. So one of these ads are actually segmented. Yes, one you'll find is just telling you, reminding you, we have Ruga is coming to Uganda, save the date, right? Then 1 week later, it changes. For the concert, this is who will be opening, right? This is where it's going to be, you know? Then a week later, now remember they are adding. They've not stopped the first one because there's still people who have not seen the first one. Then in the third week, they add on and they say, your tax is only 10,000 shillings to get in, right? Or book a table for.
This is creating the FOMO.
Yes.
You know what?
It's a process. It's a story. So same thing, even e-commerce companies, right? If there's a sale coming up, even without a sale, there'll still be people who have never heard about that company, right? So that ad will be there. You know, we deliver in so many minutes. Right at your doorstep. You can pay by all payment means. Right? So there is that. That one is constantly running. Then they'll be like, this is like February, it's Valentine's. We have a Valentine's sale, right? Buy your loved one something. Don't be left out. Then they will also run one that says, we have perfumes at only 100K, right? Buy a dinner dress at 5K. Buy the shoes at 6K, right? Now you see it started from being very broad to narrowing down, and now they are giving you the prices. Now the reason it feels like it's a lot is you're not seeing the
patterns. For you, whenever you come, it's something.
Yes, it's Jumia. Right? But if
I don't know.
You find them too much.
Control these ads because you'll find them on a porn site, you'll find them on a gospel song, you'll find them everywhere. Like, is it for everyone? Like, you really just looking out for every internet user, the pervert who's just I'm watching my porn.
These companies have ethics. These companies have ethics. The companies I know that usually are not very ethical about it is.
I don't know why you brought up ethics when I mentioned porn because. They are not.
People want to be associated. Yeah, it's not but it's not immoral. But some people's brands do not want to be associated with certain things. So there's that setting.
Do they control? Because I've watched food ads on my phone.
Yes,
they've popped up. And like, is it a Google issue? Or do these people really just don't care? It's just you put it out there and the internet distributes it to wherever it wants.
No, they do care. They do care. But then also. Remember, every single person is a consumer, right? You may finish and then you're hungry.
Most cases, that's the scenario. Actually, you have to.
And you're
so the
hungry.
ad would probably make sense on her own side. But all right.
Yes, but there are consumers everywhere, right? It's the same way. Just because we know campus students are not the highest earners doesn't mean they won't be interested in dressing up, in getting a new phone. Yes, so everybody has their own different interests. The person in parliament, who's an MP, will want a new phone, but also a campus student wants a phone. Nowadays, it's been drilled down to high school.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, actually, people, I think
everybody wants to stay in communication. Everybody wants to be online. Everybody wants to be in the know. Yes, so it really, everybody is a consumer. Now it's about drilling down your audience, right? So if you're willing to pay for a porn subscription, you're very likely willing to pay for subscription of you like comfort, right? Okay. So yes, it's all about audience, and if you get the parameters right, now this is the characteristics, then you can target pretty much what suits you.
Has been made so expensive?
I don't think it's
ideally, even when
as
you look
expensive.
At the food
because
delivery.
of e-commerce, no. I think it's
when
not expensive yet.
On a daily, it's still very expensive.
No, but what is expensive?
Everything.
The fee, the delivery fee, or the food?
No, well, the food is in the restaurant. Still,
yes,
that's expensive.
exactly.
But a delivery fee, yes.
Actually, now that you mentioned expensive and food, do you know the thing I'm very happy about? I'm still very happy about Kampala is healthy food here is a lot cheaper than fast food, right? But also, whether you sit in the restaurant or you have it delivered, right? It is still the same price, right? The only thing is delivery fee. No, it depends where you're located, right?
From the restaurant.
Yes, right? It depends where you're located from the restaurant. But also, let's take another example. You've seen all these people who do buy in the US, ship to Uganda.
Yeah. I have a friend of mine who was Tugule online.
Yes.
Owns that. He was telling me he started it because there was a lot of counterfeit in the country. So he decided that, you know what, I want to make sure that he started as buying his own stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Then we started sending him cameras. Then he started helping us.
Started helping
Amazon. But also, we realized that it's easier if we
buy it for yourselves than you ship.
Than get a middleman. Yeah.
Yes.
And you just bring it in because the cost there before you actually go to your the taxes. Just one things that have batteries in them. It's insane. Like the price to bring in one camera could buy you 2 more cameras.
Yes. But you see, I think it all comes down to, I don't think the expensiveness is comfort. I think it's just overall as a country, we are just now tending towards that. The broader the middle class, the more everybody wants to tap into it. Yes. And most countries, it's the middle class that moves the needle in economics, in what influences everyday living, right? It's always the middle class. So yes, it could be expensive, but when I compare, you're going to, for people who like Izumi, you're going to buy sashimi, lowest price is 65,000, right? Clearly, 2,000 delivery fee, even 5,000 is a drop in the ocean.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's say, like, for example, when I was with the custom experience company, many people are happy to pay if they can just be like, oh, I placed the order and I can go on with my life. Right? And I don't have to think about it.
The order?
Yeah, like, for example, I ordered something, or maybe I've done banking. Even a simple example of banking, I can program every single month, 50,000 goes to water, this goes to the, and I don't have to think about it. People are happy to pay for that, to just go like, it doesn't have to be constantly backed up in my mind. People are happy to pay for that. So yes, comfort can be a bit expensive because of all the charges, the small charges, and most people need to actually go back and look for every standing deduction on your account. There's a small charge they charge you, and usually we are oblivious because it's so small. But then what you do, you end up having like 15: insurance, water, electricity, DSTV. So there's like a couple of things they keep piling up. And then you're like, subscriptions, right? So as they keep piling up, they take small amounts. But it's convenience you're paying for, right? And if you total it up, if it is equivalent to your 5K of petrol going to the restaurant, where you're going to use 3 liters, so you're 15K, well, you do it. So I think there's options. Yes, comfort is not necessarily expensive, but it is what do you choose. Yes, and also value of time, really, value of time.
How has it been like for you as a woman in this industry?
It's been interesting.
Easier?
It's been, no, there's nothing easy about it.
But easier, like because you're a woman?
No.
Or harder?
Actually, it's harder because I'm a woman.
How?
The interesting thing is you're a man, but guys tend to go easier with the guys, right? Bro, right? So it has been, I won't say I've been privileged to work with some really amazing people, but I've also worked with people who are, it's the guys, right?
Yeah.
They will even have a meeting without you, right?
Yeah. Just because you're a woman.
Just
and
because.
Your opinion.
No, you're too opinionated. I know I'm not soft on my opinions, right? And I know I do not cower with my voice. I do not temper down just because, and that's the thing. The objectivity that comes from being a woman in any instance, everybody expects you to be, soft spoken. Oh my God. Some of us are not like that. Most women are actually not like that. I mean, you've seen women when they're together with girls and they are laughing loud and,
It's always happy times, yeah?
It's always, but it's just that presumption that we're expected to be a certain way that makes it hard, right? That you're expected to be accommodating. Most men are not, nobody expects them to be accommodating. Nobody does. But I've been put in a position where everybody is supposed to we thought you would understand, like you thought I would understand what? Right? That you run out at 2 p.m. every day without explanation.
Okay.
What were you doing? Yeah.
So how do you then deal with that?
I mean, I'm very forthright. I'm very forthright with my communication. And I've found that along the way, people are like, you're very brisk. And that bluntness doesn't go down easy, especially when somebody expects you to not be as blunt. And then somebody once said this to me, you do not speak so, you cannot, you're very combative. I was like, if it was a man, would they be called combative? No one would call them combative. Everybody would say they're assertive. And I'm sure you've seen those memes. Yeah. But this was like way back early in my career. I feel like you saw, we are just supposed to sit in a meeting and, you say everything. And because I don't agree with the idea you're putting forward, why don't we refine it? Why don't we find middle ground? But we can't just keep quiet, right? And that's the hard thing about in any sector. I mean, the woman will always be looked at as tough, especially in the point of leadership. But everybody's just human. If it's a man, bro.
Have you dealt with shitty customers in general from a customer experience?
From a customer experience angle.
Who's a shitty customer? If I have my money and you,
yes,
whatever I believe, I've not gotten my service.
Yes.
How I react really, because money is emotional.
Yes, money is emotional.
Yeah, probably are supposed to everything that comes with it. And
I remember there's a time we did. I was working somewhere. I will not even disclose the place, but so it's of course, and we ran a campaign. It was very successful, and then it rained, and people didn't get what they were paying for, and what the CEO then told me, like, Persis, you're going to write an apology email to each and every single customer. I was like, okay. I looked at the list. There were over 100. And then you sign it.
Wait, you had to write personalized to each?
Yes. Yes, so this is not like, the customer care of this company. No, like, this is from Persis, who works at this company. This is my position. I understand you're frustrated. So one thing I've learned about customer experience, or even just managing people who have been offended, because I have also been offended, is one, acknowledge their position, right? As irrational as it may be, when you acknowledge someone and like, okay, I feel where you're coming from. I understand. It is hard. Once you do acknowledge that, it's sort of a step into you guys being on equal footing. But the moment you go blank of, oh, we apologize. What are you apologizing for, first of all? You've not understood where my pain is coming from. So for me, I always find that first, when you acknowledge that, look, we understand, and then be a bit forthright and say, okay, we understand this, but this is what happened, and we apologize that it happened like that. It's always a lot easier, yes? And it always saves you from, can I speak to the manager situation?
Yeah.
Yes? And for us here, I've called a few, I've interacted with a few of our post services, just like, Uganda. One, especially a certain telecom. After you've been boiling, you're having an issue, then they spend like 3 minutes telling you everything else that is not even the problem.
Yeah.
Right? Then by the time you get there, your frustration is a bit higher, right? And what happens is then by the time you end up being a lot more angry. And for those people who are very shouty and stuff, what happens is then you immediately launch into a tirade. And then whereas when these guys hear you, they're like, oh, let me get for you the supervisor. So for some people, it helps them feel better.
So how do you put your emotional intelligence in a position where it can deal with a shitty person?
Detached.
Yet, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And a lot of us, I've not met someone who say they are perfectly at peak with their emotional intelligence. Even I am not.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm totally not. Like, I'd got so frustrated at some point as the sound for this used to have an issue. Like,
yes.
The first comment you get on YouTube was, oh, the sound missed. Now, this one person one day commented on something I'd cleaned up so well. And because they were just used to commenting, they did that without actually listening to the fucking episode. I'm like, you can't be saying that.
The sound is still the same.
Mad at them. I was like, can you listen to that damn thing first? Because every other time you just come, this is just on you. All you have to do is to comment on that sound, whether you listen to the thing or not, and it's just on you. So, but then I realized they're just a listener, and
yes.
I am supposed to.
You're supposed to accommodate.
Exactly.
No, I mean, it's a hard place because there's no peak that you can say you're 100% emotionally intelligent. There's always that one thing that ticks you.
For you, what have you done to apart from like really just detaching, what have you done to?
I've come to understand
customers, to people in general.
People are different.
Does this affect your own people?
Yes.
Yeah, like because how you start dealing with people out there informs your perspective up, even to the people close to you, and then your judgment is So
for me, I think one of the things that I am a last of 5.
Yeah.
And my opinions were always allowed to be put out there, So, and then one of the things that I learned just by beginning to go to school is just because it came to your mind, it doesn't mean you need to say it. Yes? You need to think about if it goes out, how will it affect somebody else? So putting yourself into thinking about how it affects other people. If yourself, you received it, what happens? Right? If I was on the end of receiving that brash comment, what happens? And remember one time someone told me, and this was even in our accent, they're like, you look nice, but I think your self-expression is just too out there. I was like, so you want me to tone it down for you? Okay. Right? Would you tone yourself down for me? So if I told you the same, that you could speak better, you could express yourself better, would you do it just because I told you? When I had my first kid is when I really saw the impact of these things. And she would see me on the phone when I'm carrying her. So the moment she was able to start, when I would be carrying her, I would be like this on the phone. Oh, okay, yes. You're multitasking. So the phone is on loudspeaker and you're moving around, you're trying to get things done. The moment she began holding things, when they would ask her, how is mommy? She would pick the phone and say, no. I was like, oh wait, this is how this person sees me. So it really was smack in the face. And when she began talking, for a really long time, that was her expression of mommy's working. And mommy's version of work is she's on the phone, she's talking something, and she's like, no, let's do it like this, and then speak so fast. So that was her version of my type of work. And I realized, I said, so if this is from people seeing, how about words that usually cut deeper, stay with you? It gave me, I've always had empathy, but it just made me more in tune with the surroundings. More in tune with the surroundings. And then also just my spirituality recently has been at a totally different note, right? And it's so hard to like people when they're being bad. It's really, really hard.
How do you tell between good and bad?
Between good and bad. We shall stay here until tomorrow if we begin that discussion.
For you as you Persis, how do you tell between good and bad?
So one, I believe there's good in everybody.
Okay.
Right? The bad comes when circumstances force us out of our good nature. And a lot of these are actually outside and influence us.
When you say that, that's my whole explanation. Circumstance. Look at Will Smith.
And the slap.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you think it was right?
I personally think the reaction was a bit over the top. He could have just kept it at keep my wife's name out of your mouth. Will Smith,
that was so stupid for him because he's an actor. Yeah,
the reaction was over the top.
Same joke before.
Yes,
he just doesn't remember, but he made the same joke in Bel Air, that Prince thing.
The Prince, Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Told chick walks in who has the same condition, and he says, "Bitch, go wax your head instead of always having to shave. Just go wax your head, like something like that along the line."
But now you see why
he laughed about it in the crowd.
But now you see why it affected him. Is now this is someone who he's related to. This is someone where it's personal. It's a true expression of you will tell somebody you could dress. You know your shirt. You could dress
walk
better.
Out to you on the street. And they say what you said on the podcast was shit. And
exactly. No, exactly. They're allowed, but that doesn't mean I won't slap back, by the way. For me, but I also believe there's no room for physical altercations, ever. Right? There's no room for physical altercations.
That is
ever.
A conversation I want us to talk about in terms of relationships. Gender and staying together, cohabiting. What happens if you're provoked to a level? But the world right now, you're a woman, of course, there's a whole cover into things like feminism, and I'm going to give you my depth explanation of this to see where I'm coming from. You see, when women bring up the subject of men, the patriarchy is taking over, there are two things that they don't look into. Have you ever noticed that the strongest of men are actually controlled by women?
Yes, in some instances.
Yeah. Do you know that it looks like women use the whole feminism to cover for that? Because you see, presidents who are strong, it's usually...
They have a strong woman next to
the wives are actually calling the actual shots. Like you really see it, even in the government, you really see it. Look at COVID with the decisions. Most of the times. Go back to ancient times, 1880 times.
Oh my God. History. Everybody who made that.
Powerful women. The Hitlers had powerful women who were just sitting in the background and be like, you know what? Look at drug lords. They're just the faces. Their women are always the college. But that is not. That is true for some cases. Yeah. But I would say those cases are not even 50%. Maybe you want to believe. Sometimes people are looking for who to defer to their bad decisions. Right? I mean, just let's drill down to a family where you intermarry. Do you know some families you can marry somebody who's not from your tribe, and they begin saying, Auntie fulum, auntie yagenda muveyo. You know? True. A lot of them do that. A lot. And then they blame the woman. Or the child for example, the child refuses to speak the traditional language of the man. And they're like, that's why you need to marry someone from your tribe. And now all of a sudden it's because you married. How about, when you were saying, we wish you all the happiness in the world. What happened to those conversations, right? Right? Forever. And so I feel that percentage is small. Women have a lot of influence, but then also... But I feel like we ignore their influence to society and mask it into victimizing them. The whole... I don't believe in women victimizing themselves. And I have... Nobody... When you feel someone is victimizing themselves, there's probably an actual victimization that has happened to them.
Every time you feel like someone is maybe setting this up, there's actual victimization that is happening.
Personal experiences. There are two things I'll tell you about. There's a case of a guy that killed the girlfriend. That allegedly killed the girlfriend.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. And you, Daggy, you have to cut off the part where I say killed, not allegedly. Allegedly killed the girlfriend. Two things happened. They arrested this guy, guy X, when he was at TPS. They were mistreating that guy. They were throwing him upstairs. Now, I got a chance to get his story.
Talk to him,
to talk to him, to know why he can't actually turn up to court. He was like, you know what? Even if I have to tell my story, even if they're finding me guilty, I am already mentally traumatized. I have to go seek for help. I just can't be in this environment.
Yes.
And everything else is just because I am a man and the girlfriend. No one wants to really know the story. We're living together. First of all, they were lovers.
Yes.
Yeah. And no, I'm not saying that lovers don't, because mostly the people that...
When there's emotions involved, they run high and they run low.
Yeah, people that are closest to you are always the ones that are also your enemies in some way or the other. Somehow feelings are like that. But it's always that. Yeah, it's the picture of painting the woman to be the victim comes first without considering. This is in stories, in everything. You can't actually rape. It's all bad. All that shit is bad. Even when there's a rape case, apart from, of course, someone has met in the streets, but these were living together, probably from the bar, no one wants to know the other side. And when you ask for the other side, you become a trash guy because nobody asks for genuinely ask for another side.
But also, one of the things I've found in those instances, even let's say whether it's fiction or it's real, right? I have interacted with people who have been raped, and the maliciousness that goes through when they are questioning you is so bad, right? It is so bad. So I've volunteered before at a place where they deal with women who have been sexually assaulted. And they try to help them, if you're going to pursue this, which is also very rare. People rarely pursue these cases for ladies. People just say, let me take my healing and shut up. Because when you go to report that case, right, the police themselves, even a woman will tell you, how were you dressed? The problem is you women of these days, you girls of these days, you dress with your bras outside. Is that totally license?
Agreed. Some bullshit.
Right? It's some bullshit, stuff, right? Yeah. So it makes people scared of telling their stories. But then also people who would have actually helped the story get out there or get the version of what it is, get scared because, somebody says, is this how I'm going to be talked to? Right? Don't you believe me? So now it's because it has been consistently that, I'm not believable or somebody's not believing me, then now I have to be defensive, right? So yes, as much as people are strong, but do you know for women we are expected to automatically be stronger, right? Of course we are made of tough stuff, I mean.
Are you?
We are made. Women are made. Women are made of tough stuff.
Men out of the world. For just 2 days, it collapses.
No, it won't.
It's men that are delivering food. It's men that are having...
And it's men who are not giving birth to themselves.
Probably. But right now, men can give birth.
No, that's a transgender and all that. Yeah. But one thing I've seen is there's a reason God made man and woman. Right? There's a complement that happens. And all these things come up because women or men, somebody tries to fight that.
All these, I don't even want to call them new. But
the genders.
The genders. And
right? I have tried to be accepting. Yes. Yeah. In my opinions are very informed from a Christian view. Yeah. But then also part of being a Christian is acceptance. Right?
Okay.
Acceptance. So it is a very hard thing to say, oh, I am fully accepting, or I am not accepting, right? That opinion is one of the hardest. And you will find some people are going to be like, she accepts them. Oh my God, she doesn't. But the thing is, at the basis of everything is, this is someone's child. This is someone's child. This is someone's loved one at some point, right? This is also somebody with a soul and a spirit, right? So for everyone who's saying, but we can't have them come to church. Okay, so when God was saying, go out and make disciples of all nations, there's no part where he said, except. Yeah. So it's a hard thing. Right? And you see, that's why you see when pastors or people in leadership do certain things and guys are like, oh my God, he did that. But remember, this is just a vessel. right? This is a vessel. This is somebody like all of us. We're not going to say we're not going to make mistakes. We will. We'll make mistakes. It's what happens next that after the mistake that actually counts. So that one, that topic, I tend to stay away because
True.
It's a mix.
Committed to why you believe. No, the other thing with you, first of all, you have maintained yourself. From the time I saw you before you got married, you had a child, you still look the same person, you still how is this? Give us the tips.
Oh my God.
How is that even possible?
Can I be like one of those people who say, I drink water and mind my business?
No, really. It must either be, it's just naturally. But I also know you have a passion for working out.
Yes, I do.
I don't know if you still do that.
I do.
Oh, yeah, but you really do because it's the first thing you noticed when you were coming up the side.
Yeah, someone was jogging. So I do like to work out, but also it's working out and staying physically active gives me a chance to spend time with myself and in my head. Right? Okay. And so for me, it's two birds one. Yes, my mind space is safest and is more nurtured when I am also physically exerting myself. So, and genetics have also been a good advantage, but mostly I want that exertion because it helps my mind. But I also work out. I still do. Some people have really seen me on the Northern Bypass. I like running there, the gym. But most of it is just being I actually do physical exert myself. I think I'm bigger now than I was when I was pregnant.
Are you?
Yes, I'm bigger. I weigh the same weight I was when I was carrying a person inside me. So, but I'm thinking that's part of growth. And also the human body is very interesting. So I feel like it prepares us the way you're in tandem with the things you're doing and processes and just behavior and your daily things, it also falls in step. Just like that, it just automatically falls in step with your behavior. So, yeah, I am still avidly working out.
How is marriage?
Marriage is interesting.
Tell me why I should get
married. Mark companionship.
So early, man.
I know. I was one of the first people to get married when we were working there.
You got married so early, but Why did you decide to get married?
So one of the things was I met this really brilliant man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you
and
always say that stuff.
we were. My sister tells me we are both old souls. We both come from kind of the same cloth. But he's also the person who's other than my family. Somebody you meet and they're happy to support you and they're happy. It doesn't mean I hadn't dated some pretty good people. I had, but I've never met someone who's happy, supporting, and willing, wants to spend their life with me.
This specific person is that
they wanted to spend their life with me. Okay. That it's surprising. Like somebody takes a decision and
the person that gave me a child, I usually used to tell them that you know what, I am sure I want to spend my life with you.
Yes. Did they say yes?
Yes, all the time. They kept saying yes, but at some point we realized that no, we now don't want to spend our lives together.
So we did that. We did that for 2 years before we actually committed, because I met him right out of university. And he was just different. For me, I can't say that I felt butterflies and I knew this was the person for the rest of my life. But the way the interaction went, the way when somebody tells you, okay, I see us, first of all, it was seamless for us to start building our lives together. It was not hard. It wasn't, and we fell into a really good systematic companionship, right? When people are telling you, oh, when you marry your friend, I'm telling you, when you need to more than marry a friend, you need to marry somebody who would say this is a companion, right? I've had a bad day, can we have a chat, right? And then he's willing to listen even when he has had his bad day, right? Then the next time, I'm like, okay, it's your turn. I know yesterday I was full of it. It's something like that. And we did get married early. We did a lot of these things a lot early. But the thing that I find most impressive for me was this is someone he's a bit older than I am. So for him to say, okay, I've been on the earth for this long, but you're the woman I want to be with. And then he was also surrounded by like these really strong women. I was like, I need to tap into this strength. I need to tap into this mojo. And he has a nurturingness about him. Yeah. Yes. And then he's very smart.
Didn't that affect you? One of the things I suffered with in life was the fact that my friends were, when I was in nursery school, I think something my dad really brings up a lot to inform the fact that I've been a very stubborn child is that when I was in nursery school, my best friend was in P7. So when they escaped,
you escaped with them.
With them, like always in nursery, without knowing the direction. That has been the pattern. Right now, my friends are Hillary's. I have friends who are like 50 years, and they're really my friends.
And they're really
around, talk business, and all that. It's been like that, but it affects how then I see people my age and how I relate to them. Because most times then I feel like you don't see where I'm trying to see.
Yes.
It's just like this small venture with whoever I work with. It's me selling them the vision.
Yes.
You know what? This can actually be bigger than everything you think. But not everyone is willing to just sit around on a very small paycheck and wait it through.
Yes.
But it's actually really big.
It's actually really big.
Makes sense.
Everything has to be built.
But maybe it could fail or not. But someone to sit in and really put that vision. Now that is what I relate to now. Your peers. How that affects how you relate to them. Them saying your man is older. Maybe probably people usually say you're in for the money. Things like that. Things like that. But now for you it was different. You really had a very good job. I personally knew that for a fact that he wouldn't be money. There was no lacking.
It wasn't lacking, but what was different was also that independence of I can do it whenever I want. I've gone. I had to be like, all right, I'm not. It's not a Persis train. It's a Persis and Anthony train, right? It's not a. And so I slowly. It's not automatic that you just turn it on and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, let's talk. This is what I'm going to do. But you have to be very intentional. So yes, it was different. It was hard because by then my friends were still like, we are going to hang out. This is where we are taking these trips. But I quickly realized I can't be doing out of town trips when I'm supposed to be, spending time with someone. So opportunity cost is. Spend time with my friends who, some of them have even left my life now, right? Some of them I don't even have their numbers, and So and he actually pointed that out to me at some point. He said, "I need you to actually." It was as a result of some people as well. They're like, we need to go out and do this and this. I was like, my husband is coming. Is that all right? They're like, yeah. So because they knew he didn't understand Uganda, they started gossiping about me. And then when I came back, I had gone to the counter. When I came back, he said, I don't think these people are your friends. What they didn't know is he understood it. He just doesn't speak it. And after that, I started shaving off these people.
How does that then affect your mental health? So do you know what? The whole marriage thing. You have
my oldest friend, right? My oldest friend, who was also my maid of honor. We've known each other since we were 12, right? She's still my friend. She's my business partner. We've been through some really interesting things, right? So I've kept a circle that is more very close friends, cousins and sisters, right? Even my sisters-in-law. Right. So the circle is very small, but one of the things is these people have been there. So usually people come and they go, right? But it's also okay. There's people who are supposed to be in your life for a certain duration, make their contribution, and they move on.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And once people accept that, you'll find that it is easier. Same thing in marriage. Before you're married, you can be A, B, C, D. Like, for example, that your best friend when you were in kindergarten and now P7. Yes. How often do you talk to him?
Rarely, but yeah.
Yes. And then I also do have some friends. We actually meet. We can go like 6 months without talking. Then we meet and we download, right? Download in such an interesting way. And then other times, you just don't. And then there are those friends, this is for a good time. And then there's people an acquaintance, and then there's those people you say, okay, if I have something, this is my person. You know, those people just believe in you. I do have a friend who, when I have an idea, he's just like, Persis, let's do it. Let's do it. He has never not told me let's not do it.
Now, okay, what's the advantage there with marriage? Is it to have sex for as long as you die, that you know you're assured of a companion? Okay, not just sex, like the whole
ensemble, the institution of marriage.
Or is it to have a close friend who you're going to manipulate for the rest of your life to be around?
You can't be anti-marriage.
Really? Yeah.
So I don't have an answer.
Family and children.
I don't have an answer for you. I really don't. I genuinely do not have an answer. My parents have been married for 45 years now. Right? I ask my mom, and she's like, we still have it going. I asked my mom, and when she can tell me, I can't give you a recipe, but you're there. You go and see. But I can't say I have an answer. I don't have an answer. But one of the things is right now is I have a companion in whom I have a business partner. I have a lover.
Yes.
Right? I have a lover. I have a business partner. I have a companionship. Exactly.
How did you connect with someone who's in a different world?
They've
seen it than you. You're just seeing things. You have all this.
But Mark, I'm an old soul. Even when I'm a bit of I don't want to say old soul, but I'm a bit.
You're a person.
My discipline is, I think, it's the way I tame myself is matches what he is. And sometimes I can't say I'm very tame, but I have those unruly things. But I think it's the compliment. When you compliment character, yes, you cannot find someone who's like you. If I married someone who was like me, would be two bone-headed people in the house. True. Right?
It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. It doesn't mean you won't have fights. It doesn't mean you won't have issues. But the thing is, remember why you like this person. Yes. And it's those things. There's no recipe. I haven't figured it out. Even today, he's probably going to be, when he watches this, he'll be like, Sweetie, you said what about me?
Interesting.
You said what? Then he'll be like, oh, but you forgot to say this. I'll be like, I probably did, but... Yeah. But he'll be like, oh, it's so great about you being able to self-express, just being able to do that. And that support is amazing in my life for me.
Interesting.
Stability. And he appreciates me. I appreciate him.
Everything holds. Because stability comes with being able to provide as a man.
Yes, but also
but with your vows, there was...
For better, for worse.
Yes.
So stability, of course. Oh, you did?
But you don't know you meant it because you've not faced the worst.
How do you know? How do you know? So worst is subject, right? Worst is subjective. For some people, it is that, someone is not providing. For some people, it is that I'm trying to talk to you. And I called you, you never picked up. Right? Like, he just never picks up when he's at work. Some people are just like, my man never picks up, or my woman never picks up when she's working. And she won't even give a reason. Yes, just be like, no, I'll get to you when I get to you. So stability and saying for better, for worse is subjective, right? Better can be Maldives every week.
True.
Right?
Oh, no.
So I think that is subjective. We have had our worst times. We have had our best times. But also it is, nobody knows what is coming tomorrow, And for you to 100% be with someone when you do not know what is coming tomorrow, that is trust.
So now let's again go out from there.
Yes.
Talk about you as a woman. I was watching Netflix. They have
Bridgerton.
They have a very new. It's a series of documentaries. It's the principles of pleasure. It's something supposed to highlight sex education in its entirety because they actually really they've gone all out. They're teaching women how to use vibrators.
Is that the one of Jupe? Gwyneth Paltrow's.
I don't know because it has a lot of lecturers on there, guys with PhDs.
Yeah, that's the one.
And
that's the one of Gwen.
So one, it's putting vaginas out there for everyone.
Remember the vagina monologues here in Uganda?
Yeah. So, but two, I feel like that they are selling an agenda. They're selling sex toys. Do you feel like every woman is supposed to? Okay, they're saying you're supposed to before you get into a relationship, you're supposed to understand your body and you're supposed to probably understand your sex and everything. There are very many misconceptions that have been there from the virginity, from saying because the documentary actually highlights. That a woman grows back their virginity all the time. It's not once.
It's not a once.
It's not a one-off that it goes off. Then also, they talk about
self-exploration.
Yeah, all that. Very many things. Do you as a woman understand your body that much?
I think the way the body keeps changing is very amazing. I tell this quite a few times. Quite a few times I tell this story to some people. Is when I was in primary school, I do have a bit of like hairy arms and hairy legs. So, and I didn't know in Uganda it was sexualized.
Yeah.
I found this out in high school, right? And the meaning behind it, and I was so disgusted.
What's the meaning behind it?
Oh my God, don't take this for gospel truth, but I heard this from a border guy, which was also very disturbing. So, okay, you remember those times we used to go downtown? I remember how I used to always have like sleeves. Yeah. The reason was people would pull the hair, right? They would just tug on my arms. And remember me even in primary school would either bully me for it, yes, or keep asking me about it. So, Fast Track University is when I find out that it means that the person gets like really, this is in no way applying to me, but that the conception is that that the person gets really wet. Okay. Right?
So I've heard. Yes.
And I found it's such common knowledge, and then it felt so weird when people.
That's what they
you
think.
Don't know me. I'm walking in the market, and then someone is just tugging on your arm and saying, "Hey, sister, is it you?" You know? Very and the pinnacle for me was I was walking downtown, and this madman came and hugged me. And ran his hands full of.
How did that happen? A hug is something. You can just present it before
no,
it happens.
Has someone ever hugged you and their hands are clearly covered in shit? I've not gone back downtown beyond where Pioneer Mall is.
Oh my God.
You guys are.
How did you do that? How come I didn't find this out?
And men was just screaming, boredom, and I was just so scared because I was saying, if this person is actually mentally disturbed, any move I make is going to be either I'm attacking or it comes out like I am allowing it. So I was just standing still like this, holding onto my bag, and all these men are hollering, right? So how does this relate to what we are talking about? Do you think
you
that...
understand your body as a woman?
I didn't understand my body then.
Things like...
I didn't understand my body. For me, you have to discover yourself every single day, right? Like the way the body changes. For example, after I had my child, things like periods change. The time they show up, the way they hurt.
This documentary highlights the fact that women are mentally affected because a lot of them are not getting orgasms because they don't understand their body, because they don't understand their parts, their clit and whatnot. They can't actually.
There's also like you may not. There's also people don't say what feels good for them.
Yeah.
Right. You have people like here in Uganda, in Africa mostly. It's not like pleasure the woman first. It's most people are just like, okay, as long as the man is happy, we are good. And even those Senga sessions, they're like, yes, you need
did
to.
You get a Senga session?
No, I did not.
How did you then get married?
Oh God, I was so busy. I was so busy. I did not get one, but I attended one from one of my sisters-in-law, and surprising thing. It's crazy.
I hijacked one, not like I was supposed to attend, but my cousin was getting married, and so they were being the singers always around.
But as Africans, we are still shy about sex. It's still with the lights off. Many people, it's still with the lights off. Quickly, if he's happy, I'm happy kind of situation. So something like that, if people can be taught, and I think a lot of teenagers now...
It's actually very, very informed. It's informative. I think there's so much it highlights that.
And even there's going to be a pleasure in disarming somebody, right? It's like, you actually made someone feel like that.
Understanding yourself helps you stay away from a lot of insecurities about how
somebody will think about you. Yes,
and
even how you dress.
That's the thing that affects me. I feel like I'm too good for women sometimes, and this is not in a very bad
like
way.
the nice guy thing. Like, I'm a nice guy, is it?
The nice guy thing? No, I don't feel like I'm a nice guy. Yes, but I also feel like not everyone deserves
to get the best version
of me. So then I'd rather stay away, because then you do not know, like, okay, I can't waste all my energy with this person, and we do not know what's going to be.
Then how do you connect?
Exactly, that's the thing.
How do you honestly connect with people? It makes it hard.
It makes it hard, and it's very hard for me. It's something I'm dealing with extremely hard for now 5 years.
Yes.
It's crazy.
But you have to tap into, I feel I know it's self-preservation puts us in a stance of you don't want to share every single part of you.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
You remember, I don't know, you remember I used to joke with this. Even with you, I'd be like, there's 2 points where people should fully know who you are. Your wedding, right? Because all your family and your friends are there, and then when you die. Those are the only times they should get to compare notes. But then what that says is, so who are you?
Yeah.
It's okay to have versions of yourself, but then at one point do they come together? It's like Dior is acting, and then that also creates its own problems, right? But also, you don't need to be open for everyone. Yes, that also has its problems.
Do you think masturbating is a bad thing?
No, I don't think so.
Everyone else thinks it's a bad thing.
I don't think so. Like right now, my husband is away, right? My husband is away. Does that mean I should lock myself up and not ever think about sex?
You need sex every other time.
Right now he's been gone for 3 months.
Yeah, 3 months.
Right? I know it's so. Do you think? So my question to you is: do you think in that whole time I can't think about sex just because he's not there? So we can't. But we can have some. We don't have some sex.
Grown up.
Fun sex, but in that sense. I look safari. I look safari. That's all but no. I don't think masturbation is bad, and also if you know who you are, yes, what makes you aroused, what gives you pleasure, you can give pleasure to yourself.
Okay. Makes sense.
Right. So I don't think it's bad. I was reading something else a couple of months ago, and what the person was saying is the more aware you are of your inside, it also makes your outside a lot more appealing, a lot more easier. And I also found that the more comfortable I became with just not just my spirituality, but who I am on the inside. On the outside, it just automatically filters who I have conversations with. It's the mojo.
Well, I don't know how
much time we have.
It's getting to 11. Now, let's go. What legacy are you trying to create as Persis? You also have a daughter.
I want my daughter to know she can do anything.
Is it about your daughter? Are you going to have just one child? Or legacy in general? You could, for me, have conversations, as many conversations with people, and freeway conversations where we can just talk about anything. That is one of the things. But other things, I'm still building onto that. So,
for me, it is 2 things.
What are you looking at to really achieve?
To really achieve.
To know that if I died today, I'd have died at peace.
So you see, I am one. The first one is I am a very strong believer in not having everything figured out. Right? I believe in figuring out everything, you're confining yourself. I didn't know I was going to end up in the career I'm in.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know what tomorrow will bring. But then also that's the essence of hope. That's the essence of hope. And I just want my life, especially for my daughter, to be that, look, I didn't start out knowing I'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, figured it out. I know where I'm headed. Right? But in that whole mix, actually something came out of it. Right? And the impact of that is, whether you have it figured out or not, you should be allowed to still wake up and give it a good go, right? So I'm a non-believer in those things of, have a 5-year plan, have a 6-year plan. What will you be like in 10 years? Yeah, I'm better off ask me what drives you. How did you wake up today? What did you plant a tree? Did that make you feel better, right? It's about what is your one contribution that made you better today than you were yesterday. Yeah, the small steps bigger than the big steps.
What makes you feel better in general with life? Is it the exercises? Do you listen to music? What informs your good emotions if something goes wrong?
I love hugs. I love hugs. I love hugs, and I love them from people that I care about. So for me, a hug is a reset button.
Oh. So if you are disappointed at work, you probably run to Nevo and hug him. Nevo is just a happy person, really.
Yeah. I used to actually. When I was dating my husband now, he used to, when I'd be like, I'm having a bad day. Sometimes he would drive and just come and give me a hug. Just be like, I know, I'm having a bad day too. We could use this. Right? So for me, a hug is always a good reset. And then the second part of a legacy that I'd want to leave is belief, right? I am a Christian, but also, when people say, just pray, everything will work out, I feel like there are things.
Christian. Faith is misleading.
Yeah, faith can be misleading,
Most
but
of the time.
I want to be, God, if God knows who I am already, right? Me having an honest conversation with him, I'm like, look, if this doesn't work out, we are failing together. Yeah. If this is what you want, then let's go. I know for some people, my mom told me, aren't you holding God on ransom for your own plans? But I told him, at least I'm being honest. I'm not going to say, I'll be superficial. I'll believe you. I will accept whatever way it comes. No. I'll be like, look, man, I need this to go like this, right? So for me, belief and Christianity, yes, and what it has done for me.
Yeah. What is Christianity like in actual sense? What is your faith? How do you quantify that? You know what? This is why I want to believe in a higher power. This is.
I used to have some serious anxiety about the unknowns. Right? I was a planner. Even for when we go on vacation, and then was to pack everyone's suitcase just to make sure they got everything. So for me, it was 1, 2, 3 has to amount to 5, right? There is no something there. There's no shortcut.
You need to know what's up.
Right? And then the other day, I was just every single time, and I said this is the scariest part of the Bible for me, is the part in Deuteronomy, where there's all these laws, and I'm thinking, God, man, you see what happens if these people don't follow? These guys must have been dying by the thousands,
That's right.
Right. So the fact that now you can go out and even disregard things like if you have 2 shirts, give one to somebody who needs it, and we still remain alive, right? These are some of the things that are written. It just shows me grace, but also it is belief that the next day or even the next minute, when I go and I confess or I ask for something, God won't be like, oh, you didn't give your shot, you didn't give your second shot, so I'm not going to give you anything until you do the other thing. My life is not held at ransom, right? But I'm supposed to do it for the purposes for the kingdom. So.
Interesting. This has been one of my best conversations. You should know that.
You said, how often do you say that to everyone?
This I actually say it, but I mean it. In the actual sense of it, like, some don't get it.
Some don't get it.
You don't just rather mention it, but if you have good conversation, and that's also the whole point of the podcast.
Yes.
It's not like, there's no agenda.
Exactly.
You've had the conversation. There's no agenda. The whole point is, you call someone, you have a conversation with them, and you publish it. Someone else can listen to it and get informed on something. That's plainly as.
So let me ask you something.
Yeah.
So when we're discussing about, how to get this more out there, right?
Exactly.
So you have to choose a snippet that people most want to hear about. So you know how people like.
I have done that, and it cost someone a job. Cost the deputy speaker of the National Unity Platform.
You don't say.
So because I cut out a clip where she called KB, in the context of the speech, she said Chizo Besigye is now rotten rubbish as compared to
so and so. Yeah.
Yeah. because she's also vice to Bobby Wine. And she had already praised the man. If you have to listen to the whole 1 hour, 50 minutes.
For you to understand
that no beef, she's being political.
But everyone moved that single clip.
Oh my God, she had to an apology on Facebook, a big one, about people listening to it. He can tell you, Douglas can tell you, we receive calls every single day about just getting that clip and putting it out there. Just to get traction for the episode. So yeah, there is that. Yeah. I mean, but also the other thing is you can't really control how people are going to perceive information. And this is something I always tell people: whatever amount of information we take in, it will influence us. Oh yes. Now this for you, how I forgot to ask. How do you actually assess the information now in like marketing? In data, like this information is what I can work with. You see that thing I told you about YouTube giving you 1 view, yet there could be 5 people watching at the same time. Like could be on my phone and we're like 10 people, but then that's considered 1 view. So that's inaccurate.
But that is what can measure your behavior, you as the owner of the device. That's what measures. Do you search more for cartoons? Do you search more for football? So this is your behavior. At that one point, you are 10, but you're not always going to be 10 people making calls on the same phone.
Don't you think you people are supposed to put out proposals where we get paid for using our data to inform the success and return on investment on your project?
So, but more every like single time you open...
access my phone data, if you're going to sell me food, at least give me an allowance per month, because you have so much on me that you use to your advantage to still make money that you use for yourself.
Do you know for every single interaction you do on the internet, at one point or another, you've accepted terms and conditions? Usually we are just ready to accept.
I'm saying the terms and conditions are shit. So revise the terms and conditions.
Let's start with the big boys, the search engines.
Facebook and what
you remember the first Facebook scandal of the data leak, right? Yeah. I mean, you could just literally browse or talk to a friend about wanting to buy a new car, and all of a sudden all the information you're getting is cars.
But what I realize right now is I don't even have to it can be a phone call. I can talk to him about buying Nikes, and then the ads will be targeted. People are listening to what I'm saying. I'm not safe anymore.
You're not safe, and do you feel safe on your devices? you have Alexa.
But it's not safe at all. All in the interest of, the marketing guy has to access all this data and use it. How do you assess data in terms of, now like this podcast, or whatever content we're producing? I would want to give it out to people, in terms of like per episode. Yeah. I want to target it to different people. Like these people have these different characteristics, so they will be interested in listening to Persis. These people have this, they'll be interested in listening to this person. So, what data should I look at?
I mean, already you have parameters. For example, on YouTube, you have the age groups, right?
Yeah.
You have the age groups. You have male, female, right? Yeah. You may not know their names.
Yeah, but right? I know that.
Exactly, male, and the best time. The peak time when people watch, right? So one of the things I used to tell somebody is there's a reason why Bloomberg posts at a certain time, right? Or releases all the effective news at a certain time.
How is the timing relevant? I've had this debate again with my team on the time and what should be posted.
So, for example, how can I phrase this? Yeah, let's just take the Bloomberg example, right? You're less likely, unless you're really obsessed, you're less likely to watch on Sunday morning in a Christian country, to turn on Bloomberg and watch Sunday morning, right? But Sunday evening and early morning on Monday, you're like, okay, where are things looking? Before you want to get informed before you have to make decisions for that business week, right? So you'll find that Monday mornings, Sunday evenings, they have a lot of content. It's more detailed. It's, they are posting a bit more frequently because that is when you need to be as informed, right? If that is your world, to make a certain decision. Yes. And that is also the classes of people that they are looking at. They've already studied, right? So, and if you do dive deep, if you do really good tracking, yes, you can see, even just with simple things as like Google Analytics, yes, you can see that people in this country consume my content more at this time, right? Or maybe when you can even just say when you post it versus when he does, or when he does, or when I do, and I'm like, oh guys, check this out, right? Probably like
there's a difference.
There's a difference. Yeah. Yes. So it's about you know, you understand the audience, you understand the interest parameters, and then you can gauge. So that's where useful data can be. Sometimes people just want to be provoked. That is the funny thing. Sometimes people just want to be provoked.
It will always have a place for it.
It will always have a place.
Whether people have shared you, just be into some controversy.
Just fall into some controversy, and they will be out there, right? So, for example, one of the things I know we're supposed to do this earlier, but I've been like tied up in several things. But I just recently did a profile with a foundation, and they were just still talking about my career coming from one end and how did you end up in marketing, right? And then it dawned on me that people actually need to hear these things. That you just because you did a bachelor's in procurement, you're not gonna be. You don't need to go to.
This person.
You're
by the way,
stuck
I
there.
didn't actually talk about that. Okay, I asked you the question of jumping from statistics to marketing. But you said you went back and studied marketing.
Yes, I did. I have an MBA in marketing.
But did you feel like, because my sister, she has a bachelor's in engineering, civil engineering, but she detests the whole experience. Plus, of course, she came to Uganda, she came back to the country, they say people who are highly qualified, I know Gezi, so they will not give them the job, so she suffered with that in the beginning. Then she's also a woman in a field that is dominated by men.
The men, yes.
Like certificates. Then also, the market itself is tricky.
It's tricky.
People don't hire civil engineers. They just know that guy can build.
Yes,
They don't want to deal with qualified people. Yeah, so she has had to deal with that. Don't you? So she feels like she wasted all that time. Because now she's a farmer and she's forex trading and now working with us. She's helping me with this the financial bit of this business. Yeah. She has it right there. She also can adopt to new things very easily because now she wants to learn programming and whatnot and just become a tech person. But then she curses that she had to waste all her time because right now the degree is useless to her. She doesn't want to be called an engineer. She actually was telling her parents that please stop calling me an engineer. I don't want to be that. Yeah. It is you who took me to school and things like that. Now for you, don't you feel like all the time of statistics, which is actually too cool for me, I want to is a waste of time, or because it informs your field right now, it's a plus for you?
Like for me, it's high school I found
high
school. I mean, I must say also my geography is still bad, but we were learning about prairies. Like, why? Right?
I know. The system itself really.
The system,
I've hated education. I actually dropped out because of shit.
Yes.
I can't.
But also, what for me,
first of all, I was reading in
she's
class.
applying. To address your sister, she's applying it in ways she may or may not see. Farming itself requires certain
it's a
things.
bonus to her.
Yeah.
She still knows that it's a trick, but she's doing that.
Yeah, it's a trick, but it applies, right? Even when she goes into programming, you'll find that it applies. Just knowing what goes where and what works best. Yes, you know the wheel and the wagon.
Yeah.
Right? The wheel and the wagon is a basic engineering thing. Yes, it's just what do I need to attach this to make it move, right? Now, for my case, statistics came in handy when I decided to do things like business development, do things like head marketing teams, because then you also have to envision, okay, I'm asking for maybe half $250,000 to do quarterly marketing. So what do we get out of it? How are you forecasting, right? All that is data. All that is data, and the way you interpret it, because I'll ask you for $250,000 and be like, why do you want it? If I didn't have my numbers straight, yes, you wouldn't get it to me.
What I can do, because we are looking to having a real solid marketing plan, we can consult with you. We are not very rich, but we can provide funds to push something and see what's up. But we need one.
You need one. We shall talk after this conversation. So for me, it came in handy. Yes, statistics, but I also know quite a few people who they are really in total opposite, right? I have a friend, he went to law, did the whole LDC story. Right now he's in events. He's not even interested, but he's a tough negotiator, right? So
The whole thing informs.
it informs, right? So I feel like the way our pathways and the way our lives are set out, some things will contribute, some things will not. I still have a shitty sense of geography. I really, really do.
Yeah.
If you don't send me a pin to anywhere, I will get lost. Very well. Even when you tell me look for that tree and that
Do you
building.
drive?
No.
Can you drive?
So I am scared of driving.
That's another reason.
Another reason. Yeah.
Your
So,
spirit.
you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like every single thing somehow interweaves into who we are.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. That's it.
Nice talking with you, Mark.
Me too.